Hello, I'm Victor, and this is online literature class. Thank you for not scrolling past, and I hope you get to enjoy today's class. Now, before we continue, I would like you to do me this favor. I would like you to do all or one of the following. I would like you to give me a follow, comment on this video, like or share the video as it helps in improving my visibility. Thank you as I anticipate your support. Now let's get down to the business of the day. In our last class, we looked at two figures of speech, which are chiasmus and innuendo, where we learned that chiasmus is a figure of speech that involves a verbal pattern in which the second half of a statement is balanced against the first, but with the parts reversed. We learned that chiasmus is a figure of speech that involves a verbal pattern in which the second half of a statement is balanced against the first, but with the parts reversed. For example, he knowingly led and we followed blindly. He knowingly led and we followed blindly. We also looked at innuendo as a figure of speech where we learned that innuendo is a figure of speech that involves an implied or an indirect remark made about someone or something that suggests something negative or socially incorrect, and this is done usually through the use of reference or insinuation. We learned that innuendo is a figure of speech that involves an implied or an indirect remark made about someone or something that suggests something negative or socially incorrect, and it is usually done through the use of reference or insinuation. For example, she is beautiful while coming. In fact, she's beautiful until she tries to leave. She's beautiful while coming. In fact, she's beautiful until she tries to leave. That's all for the last class. In today's class, we will look at just one figure of speech, which is repetition, and it will bring us to the end of the classes we've been having on figures of speech in literature. We will look at repetition. Now, let's get to know the meaning of repetition. Repetition as a figure of speech involves the reoccurrence of a word or phrase in a literary composition. This is usually done to emphasize or to draw the attention of a reader or listener in a case of a poetic recitation. Repetition is a figure of speech that involves the recurrence of a word or phrase in a literary composition. This is done usually to achieve an emphasis or to draw the attention of a reader or listener in a case of poetic recitation. For example, vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. Vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. If we check this statement, the word vanity has been reoccurring in order to emphasize the vainness of situations. It is emphasizing the vainness of situations. Repetition as a figure of speech is of two types. We have anaphora and anadiplosis. We have anaphora and anadiplosis. Anaphora is that kind of repetition that involves the reoccurrence of a word or phrase at the beginning of statements in literary composition. Anaphora involves the reoccurrence of a word or phrase at the beginning of statements in a literary composition. For example, with no malice towards none, with charity towards all, and with firmness toward in all that is right. I take the example again. With no malice towards none, with charity towards all, with firmness in whatever is right. If we check this example, the word with is repeated at the beginning of each of the statements. With no malice, with malice towards none, with malice towards none, with charity towards everyone, with firmness in all that is right. With is repeated at the beginning of these statements. On the other hand, anadiplosis is that kind of repetition that involves the recurrence of a word or phrase that appeared at the end of a statement to begin another statement. Let me explain that again. Anadiplosis involves the beginning of a statement with the last two words of the previous statement that precedes it. For example, if you are to play football like your life depends on it. If you are to play football like your life depends on it. The first statement has play football ending it, and then the second statement has play football starting it. Another example is if you are to study to achieve excellence. If you are to study to achieve excellence. The first statement has study ending it, and the second statement has study starting it. This is example of anadiplosis. This brings us to the end of today's class. If you have question, leave it in the comment section, and if you have a comment, leave that in the comment section. Like the video and share, as it helps in improving my visibility, as I earlier pointed out. And it has brought us to the end of our classes on figures of speech and literature. This is to note that the figures of speech that we have discussed all this while are not all in literature. However, for a beginner, if you get to know all these figures of speech, the others, you will get to know them as you keep consuming literary compositions or literary works. Thank you for staying through this topic. I hope you've learned a lot. In our next class, we'll start to look at drama. We'll start to have series of classes on the genre of literature, which is drama. Thank you. I look forward to having you in our next class. And before I go, there won't be weekend review as I couldn't do video yesterday. I carried over the video of yesterday to today. So for this week, we won't have a weekend review, but I promise to keep up in our next in the subsequent weeks that will come. Thank you very much. I appreciate every of your support. I'm Victor. Bye.